Hey guys, this is Grant Evans, your favorite Utah realtor. We are here at the closing table with the one and only Boston Taylor of Security National Mortgage. We are very lucky to have him today. We are going to be having not a debate, right? We're having a professional conversation of what people should invest in, either single family or multifamily. Granted, the answer really is yes, you should invest in anything, because real estate investing I feel like has been proven to be more secure than anything else. Yeah. My family in particular, like, we will put money in like stocks or anything like that, and we just hate that we have no control over what happens with our money.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people make money off it, and that's great. And we haven't figured it out, so we stick with real estate. So I'm going to kind of start this conversation with why single family is kind of my bread and butter. So we bought our first house in Springville, and then about a couple years later, we buy our second house. We turn our first one into a rental, and we make pretty good off it. Right now, we're probably profiting about $600-700 around there. If look at exact math, right? And taxes actually just went up a little bit. About $600. So, which is great. And it's just a little bit of pocket change to kind of put in our wallet and kind of go from there. But with our second house that we were in, so we had a time where we had a house sit for my sister for a few years. And so during that time, we used it as a rental because we just didn't want it just sitting around. There was at a time, the previous tenants, our last tenants, moved out. Then we had 2 months of like, what do we do with this? We can't give it to anybody because then we can't move in. So we Airbnb it, and we probably make 1.5 times more than we did with our tenants in that second house. And so in my opinion, single family can just bring a better quality of tenants. They treat the house better. I think there's more, granted this is debatable. I think there's a good amount of like appreciation that goes into it long term versus maybe like a condo or a townhome type. But again, we're talking about single family, so I'm going to put like kind of one unit. But I think there's less fixing, like less maintenance on a single family home versus like a duplex or triplex or anything like that. And so that's kind of my first part of our debate. I don't even know what that's called in the first part of debate. My argument, duel. It's not like we have like guns. It's not like 1850 over here. So, okay. So we'll turn the time over to you. Why is multifamily better, and why am I wrong?
So I think you are right, but you are also wrong. I'm just kidding. But I think...
Yes. It's not just kidding.
Exactly. The answer is yes. So the reason that I really like fourplex investing, and I've dipped my toes in everything. So we do out-of-state turnkey, single family in Utah, and fourplexes in Utah. So it's kind of the pros and cons of each. It depends. The answer of what should you do single family investing? Should you do Airbnb or rental, vacation home investing, multifamily, whatever? The list goes on and on. It honestly depends on, what you're trying to reach. If you're trying to just get rich quick, fourplex investing, long-term holds, probably not going to be your thing. Airbnbs, though, are a little bit riskier because if the market were to turn, I just think naturally less people are going to want to rent, go on vacation, spend money. I mean, look what's happening now.
Even like a lot of people right now, I think even like Bigger Pockets or even like Broke Agent, a lot are talking about how the Airbnb market is like dying. That there's so much like supply that everybody's like, oh, I want to Airbnb my house. And so like you got these like, vacation places. Let's just take, I don't know, Beaver, for example. And I don't have any information about Beaver, but I feel like this probably would happen. Yeah. That a lot of people like have cabins in these areas. And so Beaver, since they don't have a lot of restrictions on their rentals, that a lot of people will do short-term rental. And then in turn, you only have 5 people who come down to Beaver to go ski at Eagle Point. And then you got 100 short-term rentals like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
So I know we've seen this in the past. So my dad was a big time investor, and he kind of is the one who gave me the bug. He owned condos in Maui. So him and a partner had a bunch of these condos in Maui, and it was in like 2004. They killed it for like 3 years, like crazy killed it. And people were like, oh my gosh, I want to get into it. So they started to, obviously buy more, try to expand. 2007 happened. The economy started to take a downward spiral, it crapped on itself. So what happened in the market was no one wanted to go to Hawaii. A, tickets were more expensive. B,
nobody had jobs.
No one had jobs, exactly. And they were trying to cover their own backs and not, I mean, when things are hard, people aren't usually going on vacation. They're digging deep, trying to work and, build themselves back up.
Right.
So it's riskier, but it's also more rewarding if you do it right. So
yeah, that's if we do single family, like or Airbnb type thing. But even single family kind of has that same risk, I guess. If you got one unit, if it's not rented out, you don't get paid.
It's hard, yeah. So I'm very biased towards fourplexes, and for the following reasons. But
tell me about your fourplex. How you got into it.
So obviously, I've been doing lending for probably 2-ish years, so not very long. But when I first got in, one of my first clients was a dentist. So I was young, he was old and wise. So he was buying I think he had 6 fourplexes at the time. And I'm obviously looking at his statements, his, his statements and his lease agreements. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is insane. So I'm obviously asking him okay, dude, I'm interested in this. How did you get into this? What are the ins and outs, pros, cons, everything? So he's like, first tip that I have for you is don't be a dentist. Because when he's not working, he's not making money. But I mean, with his job.
But he's still making money off his rentals.
Exactly. So as a dentist, if I'm not in the office grinding, I'm not making money. So he was just saying, I could be on vacation. I could be with my family doing the things that I want to do and still be making money. And it comes. They're contractually obligated to pay him. So number one, if he feels safe. And I'm going to touch on another safety aspect of why I like fourplexes in a sec. But that alone got me really interested. So I obviously started kind of developing this niche of lending on fourplexes, seeing what these investors were doing and how much money they're making, how they did it. So me being young and naive, I wanted to do this. Looking into it, it was really hard to do. It's expensive. It's more expensive than, a single family home. But I saw the payout that you can get if you do it right. So I had my dad invest with me on a fourplex in Orem. We bought it for $965. Our payment is right around $46.20, and we rent each unit 2 up, 2 down for $2,200 a month.
I can't believe you get that.
And it's crazy. And so they're on a year lease. One of them is state subsidized, so the state will pay some of that rent, and he'll come up with the rest of it. But the reason that I really like that, as far as the safety aspect, is if you're getting $8,800 in rents, your payment that you have to make is $46.25, $46.50, whatever it is. So
you're pretty much doubling.
Exactly. And so that's awesome. The safety aspect with 4 units versus 1 is if one of the tenants doesn't pay, leaves, dies, you don't know. So something's going to happen, especially nowadays. If one tenant doesn't pay or moves, whatever, you're still cash flowing $6,600. 2 of them don't pay, you're $4,400. So you're coming up out of pocket $50, and half of the units aren't even occupied.
There's at least a safety net with fourplexes.
So there's a huge safety net with fourplexes. And the strategy that we've tried to do with fourplexes is the BRRRR strategy, where you buy, repair,
or rehab,
rent, refinance, repeat. I just got to make sure I'm saying those right.
Ours.
But when we did our fourplex, our strategy was we're going to have this forever. So we bought it in a good market last year. The market was a lot different than it is now. With fourplexes, when we bought it, we were $69,500 in total repairs. Came up with that in cash. Luckily, I had a partner who was really generous to help me. But it ended up working really good. We just bulletproof, lipstick on a pig each unit. So we took out the carpet, did all hardwood floors, like the LVP, cheap, durable. It's literally bulletproof, waterproof, everything. New baseboards, paint, nicer appliances, which was obviously a bigger upgrade. Light fixtures. I'm trying to think what else we did.
Make it look really nice and kind of justify the $2,200 a month.
Exactly.
Because that's a lot. Because people can almost use $2,200 a month to go into a single family home.
Yeah, exactly. But $2,200 a month with 4 people is like $550. So what actually all of them are 4 people paying $550 totaling 2,200.
Or are they're students then? Or?
Students.
Okay. Because that makes more sense to rent to students, because if it was like a young family, there's no way they're paying that.
Yeah, but we actually get the same amount of rents in another fourplex with all families. So I'll explain on that later. But
yeah.
Our acquisition strategy was we want as many fourplexes as possible because, number one, they're cash flowing. Number two, they're a great tax advantage. Number three, they appreciate. Even in the market today where you're seeing prices coming down, not so much in multifamily.
Multifamily, yeah, they stay pretty well.
Yeah, because if you want to sell, great. If you don't sell, great. I mean, ideally, it should be bulletproof in any market. And so...
So I'm going to have a rebuttal to our debate.
Okay.
Argument, whatever you call it. There is a duplex in my neighborhood for $550,000. Okay. Now to buy it, I probably need 25% down, which is what, $50,000?
Let's see.
That's a lot of money.
You said $550,000?
Yeah, $550,000. Let's say I buy it at full price times 20%. So I need at least $110,000.
Yeah.
I don't have that. And I don't know a lot of people that have $110,000 are just chilling in their bank account. Now, the thing with that, though, too, is that the current tenants that are living there, it's a 2-1, means 2-1 on each side, and they're only paying $1,000 a month. And so for me as an investor looking at that, I'm like, that's not worth it. And so then I think of like, okay, if I'm only getting $2,000 off this $550,000 duplex that needs a lot of work,
yeah,
why wouldn't I just spend $550,000 on a single family home that's really nice, 6-bed, 3-bath, probably closer to, Spanish Fork Payson area maybe, and rent that out for $3,000 a month-to-month term. That's what I would personally do if I had that $110,000.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cash flow better, and I mean, depending on my interest rate and how my payment looks and everything, I might even be cash flowing better on a single family home.
Yeah, and there are some deals like that maybe might not make sense for a lot of people. But I'm going to touch on, number one, the affordability for the down payment. That's really important because that is a lot of money. Almost, I would say 95% of people that I work with who are buying fourplex, triplex, duplex, any investment property, they're utilizing a HELOC. So it's not necessarily they're coming in with all this money out of pocket, but they're utilizing and leveraging their other real estate assets to get into more.
And even then they're going to have two, quote unquote, two mortgages.
Yeah, so they have two payments, but it really needs to make sense number-wise in order to justify it. The second part that I do want to touch on, though, with that is on a fourplex, the BRRRR strategy for me it makes the most sense. Because when you buy it and put in all these repairs, you're already in a lot. Like on $1 million, $200,000 plus $69,000, that's just a lot of capital. So what you do trying to churn that capital is the after repair value from putting in that $70,000 that we did, it's probably appraising right now for around like 1.3 something. So our goal is in the next like 2 to 3 years, we want to do a cash out refinance and try to do all of our money back. So obviously it wouldn't make sense right now with rates where they're at, but waiting for rates to either drop or, another change in the market, we would take all of our money back out. So then we have this essentially free floating asset that none of our money's in. It's just cash flowing for us and appreciating, and it's perpetually growing your net worth. Then you take that same amount of cash, churn it into another one. So then you do the same thing and it's a domino effect from there. And that's how this dentist started. Was up front, the first one is the hardest, always. With any real estate purchase, the first one will always be the hardest.
Either primary or investment, yeah.
Exactly.
Because it's a huge risk. I think of like, so my biggest kind of thing right now, you can check on our time, see if we're doing okay. Yeah. So my biggest thing, like with taking out a HELOC on my primary home or even a HELOC on my investment property or cash refinance, whatever I decide to do, that payment is going to be pretty high, I think, for like if I got this duplex for $550,000. Because on my HELOC, let's say I take the $110,000, I'm just going to guess that interest rate's probably about 5%, and let's just throw some numbers out there. It's like good round number, $1,000. Does that sound about maybe?
Yeah,
sure. We'll just say sure.
Sure.
Okay, and then that makes my loan amount be $440,000. on this duplex. And right now I'm seeing that to be about $3,000 a month for a $400,000 loan. So now I'm at $4,000 into it, and my tenants, I would have to have them pay $2,000 a month for a 2-bed, 1-bath. And I guess, yeah, because I mean, like each, if I had rented out to students, they would have to each pay $1,000 if it's a private room.
Yeah.
So
and most of the time,
unless that duplex comes down a lot in price, it doesn't seem like it's a good investment at all.
Yeah.
Unless I had $550,000 in cash and said, you guys are all going to be paying $2,000 a month now, then yeah, I'm cash flowing $4,000 a month.
Yeah. The biggest thing with duplexes, it is really hard to, I don't know, it's harder to make sense of the numbers because you have half as many units as a fourplex. Yeah, it's more expensive, but if you were to, chop down, let's say that it's a condo, each one's a condo, on a $950,000 fourplex, what would that be? Each of those condos is only $240,000, like a little less than $240,000. So condos,
that's even cheaper than just buying a unit from Edge Homes or something.
Exactly. So if you were to buy a duplex for $500,000, it's still like $250,000, but 2-bed, 1-bath, that's overpriced. In any market, there's always a good deal. Either a distressed seller, just one comes up, or I don't know, spend 5 minutes talking to you and you'll find one.
Yeah.
But there's good deals in every market, and you really need to you don't really jump into an investment and it's all of a sudden like a golden goose. You make it a golden goose. And you do that through extensive comparable analysis research, market trending data. Our biggest thing that we did really well with, obviously, was like the rental comparison data. Because I lived as a student at UVU before I went and bought my house. I was paying honestly $600 a month to live in a piece of crap at Alpine Village, and I just wanted to live with me and 4 of my buddies. So obviously paying that much with 4 people, $2,400, you could get, people want to live in their own anyways, away from campus. Like the older you get and realize how sucky it is to live close to the campus, you want to move. So that's where our location was. I knew a bunch of buddies of mine who were looking to rent. $550 is a killer deal. And we obviously are paying some of the utilities and doing all of that stuff, but for us, it just made sense, and we saw what we could get out of it, and we kind of took the risk, and it ended up working out great.
Yeah. We're out of time today, but I just kind of wanted to view to everybody listening and watching here. If the answer is do what is best for you, I like single family just for my own reasons. I also, because I don't have a fourplex, and so I can't speak from experience, but Boston has a fourplex. You also have a place in Arkansas. Yep. That's a single family. And you said you've liked your fourplex more than that one.
Yeah, just as far as like the cash flow standpoint, it's a lot better, but it was a lot more work. And so I think
the initial investment was a lot cheaper, being at, what was that, $125,000 you told me?
Yeah, I didn't end up paying that. I ended up paying 20% down. So it was a lot cheaper. Yeah. So I'm leveraging the majority of that.
Yeah. And cash flowing about $300 a month. I think that was right.
Like $380.
Yeah, which is still great. So, but if anybody's looking to invest in just anything, they need to talk to you. They need to talk to Boston Taylor, because Boston does 95% of his loans or investments. He's licensed in 12 different states. Yep. Is that right? So Boston is definitely the expert when it comes to investments. And so if anybody is looking to invest, again, talk to Boston. So how can people reach you?
Through my Instagram, it's mortgage_Boston, or you can honestly text or call me on my cell phone. It's 801-473-4404. But I agree. Everything Grant said, there's so many variables and so many different investments, and who knows what's right for you? You probably don't even know, but you need to explore other options to see what's going to fit your personality and investment style, because everyone has a different one.
I think it's worth at least to sit down to say, look, I want to invest. I don't know what to do.
Exactly. And it's free.
Yeah.
So take advantage.
Yeah. So just meet with Boston, talk about what you want to invest in, what would the ideal investment be, and just go from there. So, well, thanks so much, you guys, for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe on our YouTube channel at Grant Evans Real Estate, and follow along for more closing table content. We'll see you next time.